Hey everyone, I love zombie movies because when they're done right, they really get at so many aspects of what it means to be human. When they're done wrong, they're just kind of this chaotic mess that's like massively entertaining and, fun to watch from time to time. So, when the new film We Bury the Dead came out, starring Daisy Ridley, I was all in to check it out. And this film did do some things that I wasn't expecting. And I know that a lot of my viewers, they're not all fans of horror. So this film does some different things that you guys might actually enjoy, whether or not you like horror. Does that mean that the whole movie worked or that the whole movie was good? Well, let's talk about that because I think this is one of those films that some people really might find interesting, whether or not they're into the genre. Because honestly, it does subvert expectations just a bit. So let's get into that. And while you're here, please do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hey, put some notes in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking, and let's talk about this film. So, We Bury the Dead, it has a very simple premise. Ava's husband, Mitch, has gone to an offsite work retreat in southern Tasmania, and while he's there, a pulse bomb accidentally is detonated, instantly zapping the brain functions of every living thing for hundreds of miles, which basically means the entire island of Tasmania is just wiped out. Like nothing physically is damaged. It's just the brain functions of anything that's alive. They stop, they die. It's over. Eva travels from her home in New York to help with the cleanup efforts, gathering the bodies of the dead to bury and alerting the military whenever she and her teammate find someone who has, quote unquote, woken up. And Ava, she is desperate to get to southern Tasmania to see if Mitch might be one of the people who's woken up. But waking up, it ain't necessarily all it's cracked up to be. And getting there, it isn't as easy as you would think. Some of the things that the production gets right in this film are atmospheric. Imagine an island where everything is dead, everything just stopped in a moment, in the middle of living, just stopped. From people to birds and dogs and animals, whether they're on land or in sea, there is a devastating silence and stillness to the world. And they do capture that really well in this movie. So when you hear something, it's startling. And when you see something move, it creates a natural feeling for a jump scare because nothing should be moving, everything should be dead. That is a complete contrast to most of the zombie films that we get because those other films are like viral or fungal based, and the infection largely only spreads to humans, except in some cases, in some films. In We Bury the Dead, everything was erased in a moment, at least until some of them wake up. But it's that change in lore that makes this movie interesting because it raises a lot of questions. However, those new questions that the premise raises, they don't always get answered in this film because answering them isn't actually the core conflict of the story. I think that is going to annoy some people who really love digging into kind of what would make that pulse bomb work and why did it kill people and why are some of them waking up? Like, how does that science work? These things do get addressed to a degree in the movie, but hardcore zombie fans are hungry for these kinds of details. And this film, it really chooses to focus instead on Ava's emotional story and the things that have happened to her and how she got there and what she's going through once she's there, rather than addressing the science of the actual catastrophe that happened. So here's the thing with Ava's story. It's a broken love story and a suspenseful tragedy wrapped up in a horror film that chooses to use elements of horror to heighten the dramatic conflict between Ava's need to find her husband and everything else that's going on. Even as she really kind of makes some poor decisions, and strikes out against orders into the countryside to look for Mitch, we can see that it is not just hopeless, it's pretty much useless. The people who wake up, they are not the same. But because her desperation is so uh, raw inside of her, I think that's really the only way to put it. It's like just this raw pain that she needs to see Mitch. She needs to address something with him. And in her connection with these people that she sees waking up from time to time, she sees an awareness in them, and it's that awareness that gives her hope. Is she misinterpreting that? Is it on point? We don't we don't really know. That gets explored a little bit in the film, but we spend a lot of time in flashbacks with Ava and Mitch, which helps us to feel that part of the love story and the problems that come up in their marriage. And it's that pattern of present day scenes interspersed with memories of the past that help us to understand why Ava's bad decisions and her near senseless belief that there is hope isn't totally unfounded. It's just desperation. She's not altogether wrong, but she's not altogether right either. That's where the premise of the story really deviates from many zombie films. And it's where the story gets interesting because that's when we start thinking differently about what a zombie could be in this particular movie. Ava is a much stronger character than I gave her credit for when watching the trailer. I walked into this film thinking it was going to be more of a traditional zombie movie, and Daisy Ridley was going to kind of rise up as a badass zombie killer in a fight or die conflict that basically mirrors 28 Days Later. She doesn't. I mean, that's not the setup. And because they didn't turn her into a Mary Sue zombie killer, they actually ended up giving her a more ordinary appearance as a character. She actually stepped out of that weird Star Wars shadow that she had from playing Rey, that I don't know, that experience just kind of cast around her. Suddenly, Daisy Ridley actually just felt like an actress playing a part, not Rey in a new movie that had nothing to do with Star Wars. And I was pleasantly surprised by that. I liked that she gave herself the chance and the director didn't force her into being this like badass zombie killer. Eva is just an ordinary woman who is trying to find her husband. And regardless of whether she finds him, that part of the story does resonate on a really tragic romantic level. So I think one of the biggest departures in this film is the amount of action versus the amount of drama and the exploration of the unknown that we get. In zombie films, even the bad ones, we get hordes of flesh eating zombies who are hot on the trail of their next human meal. However, that that's just not what we get with We Bury the Dead. We do get some zombies doing what they do or trying to do what they do and trying to figure out what they are. I mean, no spoilers. It's not what you think necessarily. These zombies wake up and they are slow. Some of them are kind of even confused. Some of them are agitated, and all of them no longer look quite human in appearance. This all makes for some really great moments of exploration and artistic cinematography on screen. The landscape scenes and the close up encounters all use these moments of light and perspective and shape. I mean, they do a good job artistically with this film, creating a similar effect to many of the shots that we got in 28 Days Later, even if it's just not quite on par with what Alex Garland did in that film. And it did feel like the story leaned into some of those old tropes a little too much from time to time, which robbed this film of some of the originality that really could have elevated it to a new level for some of the conflicts that Ava's gonna run into. So, uh, So much I want to talk about that I can't because it's spoilers. Okay, We Bury the Dead does take a few moments to explore the nature of humanity and that uncanny valley that exists between the living and the dead who wake. Are they still human in the way that we think of humanity? Are they merely brain damaged? And can that damage be repaired or reversed? And how does the brain chemistry of a person who wakes change over time? As well as why one person wakes up and another doesn't. Why is that? These things aren't explored very much in this film. It's not the point of this movie. Following on that, though, I'm also here still trying to avoid spoilers, but there's this one issue that really bugged me that I do have to talk about regarding the science, and it's related to the waking or not waking of the dead. And really, if they're going to wake up and if they have some kind of brain function to get them to wake up or after they've woken up, what is that? And in any case, I would have liked the film to think more about the fact that these people who wake up, they didn't all wake up all at once. They're not on the same timeline of becoming awake. There's no rhyme or reason to what triggers that awakening. And I really loved that because it kept us guessing. It kept us wondering what was going to happen next. Would someone wake up? Would they not wake up? Even though characters in the film were constantly trying to come up with explanations for it, there wasn't one. Still, nobody ever asked, why didn't the animals wake up? And as far as I can tell, the animals never did wake up in this film. And I'm sure there were a lot of them on Tasmania that just keeled over just like the humans. Or what will happen when all those animals do wake up? Or were animals just waking up differently? And also, back to the timeline idea. If one person wakes up now and another person wakes up in a couple days and they're burying the dead who haven't yet woken up, there could literally be hundreds, if not thousands, of people who are waking up in these giant mass graves. The fact that they eliminate those who wake up and bury those who haven't yet woken doesn't really make logical sense to me. It's a governmental decision that was made. Some higher up made that choice. So I guess maybe it does make sense because a lot of governments really haven't been making good decisions lately. So who knows? I just didn't buy it. I thought that was probably the one thing that I would have done differently. I would have I would have done things differently. I can't say what I would have done. Spoilers. So, is We Bury the Dead worth the price of the ticket? And I think the overall answer is yes, because there's a lot to this film that is going to resonate with people, whether they enjoy horror or not, because it's not just a horror film. It's produced by an independent international studio, which is why I think we don't see as many of the standard Hollywood story choices in this film. And I think that's why this film feels a little bit different. It doesn't sit in the genre in the same way that a traditional horror film might. And I think that's going to give it a much wider appeal to general audiences. However, I think that really hardcore horror fans may not be quite as happy with this film. But I do think there's some give and take there. I do think there's enough here that they're going to enjoy it to a degree. It just may not be their favorite film of the year. But I do still think it's ticket worthy. However, the marketing, it just isn't picking up on any of this nuance. And I think there's a really good chance that a lot of people who might enjoy this film are just going to skip it, which is unfortunate. So, what do you think? Have you seen We Bury the Dead? Are you planning to see it or planning to check it out since it's not quite a traditional horror setup? Let me know what you think. I've left out so many things that I want to talk about to avoid spoilers. So let's talk about them down in the comments. And while you are here, please do give this review a thumbs up and subscribe for more. And hey, why not share this with a friend who could be thinking about seeing the film? And thanks again, everybody. You guys are the best. And hey, why not check out one of these reviews that you might like to watch? And I will see you all again soon. In the meantime, happy viewing. Bye for now.